Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new video. Today is going to be a bit different. I wanted to do a top of the week kind of recap of old school RuneScape updates, interesting discussions on the RuneScape Reddit, and anything else that might affect the RuneScape community. We'll see if you guys are interested. Now, what I don't want this to be is focused on any RuneScape drama, because for some reason there's a lot in this weird old community, I don't know why, and I don't want to focus on memes or humor that much, mostly on interesting discussions from the RuneScape Reddit, updates, and just focusing on information. If you do enjoy, don't forget to leave the video a like, and let's get started. So the biggest update to come into RuneScape this week is the implementation of the staking tax. The rate on taxing the Duel arena is as follows. Between a stake of 0 and 10 mil, it's 0.25%. Between 10 mil and 100 mil is 0.5%. And on 100 mil plus, it is 1%, scaling up to as much money as you can put in. Now that's actually a very large tax. So if two parties are dueling over one bill, that will be 20 mil taken out of the game. So it's actually a very substantial amount. On top of that, they've done their best to try to get rid of odds stakers. Each duelist must now stake within 10,000 coins of each other when you're fighting someone on the duel arena. Now odds stakers are trying to get around this by doing duels that are, for an example, like an Infernal Cape versus a Fire Cape, instead of staking different amounts. For those who don't know, odds staking basically is, I guess I wouldn't really call it an elaborate scam because it's kind of upfront and anyone can decipher what they're doing, but they're kind of playing the very minute advantages over the long term. So now the Infernal Cape versus Fire Cape risk is a little more obvious, like literally you just have a less chance of winning, and people still do this because the odds stakers are kind of often bots, and you can get your stake matched really quickly by fighting these people for just a very minute less chance of winning, so it doesn't affect an individual duel for you, but over the long run, that guy's going to make a lot of money. Now, one other thing worth mentioning is with the changes, you can now only stake platinum tokens and coins, so you can no longer stake rare items. Now, what this has done is seriously crashed the price of all third age items and some other rare items people used to hoard and use as staking fodder. If we have a look on G Tracker, you can see that most of the third age items have crashed pretty severely over the last month. They've been going downhill for a while, but this change has been in the works for a while, and people have been slowly selling off all of their rare items in lieu of cash because that's all you can use at the Duel Arena now. Also on August 23rd, there was another update coming to the game changing how bushes, limpet roots, and nightshade operate. They're changing it to be kind of like cactus spines. Static minimum amount that you got before is now still the minimum, however afterwards you still have a chance of getting more herbs based on your farming level. So you can get technically an unlimited amount of herbs. After 3 or 5 or whatever it is, you have like a 50% chance of getting another one or a 50% chance of the herb dying. They made this change to cadaver berries, cave nightshades, dwell berries, jangle berries, limpet root, poison ivy, red berries, and white berries. Now they also mentioned that they want to balance the influx of specifically limpet roots, because I guess that's the most common one. So now they've added a limpet seed as opposed to limpet roots to a few different monsters, including Chaos Druids, Kurasks, Necreals, and Deviant Specters. So those are the main content changes that happened in the game this week. 2 updates, so actually quite a bit of content, although pretty minor on each one. Alright, so now we're going to go over some important updates just regarding the community. So these aren't necessarily content updates, but they are things that affect RuneScape as a whole. Now to start off, I wanted to mention one that makes me a little sad, and that is the Zybez forum is going to be closing. Now, I don't think anyone's extremely surprised about this. The usefulness of Zybez has kind of dropped off as larger scale Wikia sites have become popular. Like the main information website that people go to is the RuneScape Wiki. But Zybez has been around for 17 years. That's insane. The guy who made it apparently was 14 when he made the actual website. Now, I think Zybez actually was reborn a bit when Old School RuneScape came out because it was used as the marketplace. So I think the final nail in the coffin here was the Grand Exchange being released, and that kind of took all the traffic away from Zybez. Not many people are going there. It's kind of sad, but all things come to an end, and I understand. Probably not financially viable or just not worth it to run the site anymore, but still it had a very good run. So next up, the soft launch for Android is actually going to come to the Nordic countries. Now this actually happened to Canada a little while ago, so luckily I already had access to the beta, but there is a soft launch in both of these countries. The soft launch will be in Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden, and probably what a lot of people are excited for is there's actually going to be an iOS closed test coming out on August 30th. Again, it's going to be available for 10,000 players, so you're going to want to sign up and claim your spot as soon as possible, because I know the Android spots got taken up very quickly. They did increase the maximum, but I don't think that's possible to do on iOS, so after 10,000 you're going to be out of luck. Okay, so moving on to actually a Rune Light update, and one that I'm very happy and taking advantage of quite a bit. Now there's a new toggle setting in Rune Light that allows you to use the WASD keys as part of the camera plugin. Such a minor change, but something that a lot of people have been wanting for a long time. Using the arrow keys just feels wrong, and it's just a little less ergonomic. They've also added a World Hopper plugin to actually make hopping easier in the Rune Light client. Now they have the Hop to feature for your friends, which is going to make it just a lot easier instead of having to look up the world, log out, and go to that world. So obviously everyone knows the RuneScape soundtrack. Well, there were two guys mainly responsible for doing it, Ian Taylor and this guy called Adam Bond. Now he doesn't work for Jagex anymore, but he actually just started uploading on his YouTube channel. Now I'm kind of hoping he'll upload some RuneScape related soundtracks. There's one on there right now that's cool, but go check him out. Give him a sub if you would like, because it'd be kind of interesting to get some more music kind of related to RuneScape. My favorite song on there right now is an unofficial RuneScape theme, which I'll play in the background right now. It's pretty cool, and I definitely could see it fitting into the login music. Alright, so next up I wanted to go through 1 week's worth of Reddit suggestions. Now originally why I kind of wanted to make this is because that when you're browsing the RuneScape Reddit, it can be extremely frustrating if you go in there frequently, because it can be a lot of the exact same rehashed meme, and mostly it's all humor tagged stuff, which I understand people want to have a good time, but after a while it gets kind of tiring if you're actually looking for interesting RuneScape discussion. So I've gone through the last week of the RuneScape Reddit and looked up and found any interesting suggestions or discussion, which I'm now going to provide you with so you don't have to go through it if you don't want to. Okay, so first up here we have a suggestion by Ninja Gamer 1337, and that is a Ring of Eternal Dueling. Essentially it would provide infinite Rings of Dueling teleports. He suggests it being a 1 in 500 to 1 in 1000 chance of receiving it after winning a game of Castle Wars, or alternatively a 1 in 1000 chance after capturing a flag. So I think this is an excellent idea, especially to get more players into Castle Wars. Now some people suggest that this would not be a very valuable item because of how cheap Rings of Dueling are to begin with. However, if you think people are underestimating how much people value convenience, I know having to keep track of all my Rings of Dueling charges and organizing them in the bank, while it's definitely not hard, it's just a little bit more challenging than having a Eternal Ring. Now the Amulet of Eternal Glory is only worth about 20 mil right now, and the glories are worth more. But even if the Ring of Eternal Dueling settled at about 5 mil, it would still add a pretty large incentive to play Castle Wars. And I think the convenience of having the dueling rings would be nice, and I think people would put a value on it, so it would still always have a decent value. Next up we have a suggestion by Samuel71900, and that is the ability to plant magic mush trees in a player-owned house. So the magic mush tree is the mushroom that is the teleportation method between Fossil Island. Now he's suggesting that a new unique drop called a magic mushroom can be dropped from the crazy archaeologist in Fossil Island. 3 magic mushrooms along with a watering can can be planted at a player-owned house, which causes a magic mush tree to be built. Suggested requirements are 200 kudos, 87 farming, and 85 construction. I do like this idea, however I do think that construction has had a lot of new things added recently, and the Superior Garden already has a lot of useful things in it. However, thematically it makes a lot of sense, and it would be a nice quality of life. No, it's not quality of life. It would be a nice buff to Fossil Island. It would be a bit quicker, however, there already is a pretty quick teleport right to a mush tree, so I don't know if this is totally necessary, but an interesting idea. Next up we have a suggestion by XIBurnX, and that is adding an item called a massive pouch. Essentially it would be a way to combine all your 4 previous pouches into one giant pouch. He's suggesting it requires 90 rune crafting, and it would be an increase to existing rune crafting rates. The way it would speed it up is not having to do so many clicks to withdraw the 4 pouches. It would still have the same amount of runes you'd be bringing with you, however you'd be able to get 3 extra pure essence at trip as well, because you wouldn't have to carry around the other pouches. So it's definitely a buff, although I don't think anyone's favorite part of rune crafting is withdrawing the 4 pouches and filling them all, but I don't know, we'll see. Probably wouldn't pass a poll or anything, but still an interesting suggestion. Alright, so this has been posted like a ton of times. I'm still going to put it on here because I think it is very important to get added, and that is a delay to the authenticator posted by Camera Guy 123 and probably a million other people. It's pretty simple, just add a delay to the authenticator, and that's about it. It's pretty simple. Hopefully they can do that pretty soon so people can stop bitching about it. Next up we have a suggestion by Metal4093, and that is to add the open function that we just got for the looting bag to any other items like that. He's suggesting the herb sack, the gem bag, and the seed box. This would be a very nice quality of life change. Not having to manage your inventory for all that would be nice. And we do already have the precedent set for the looting bag, so I don't really see why you can't do it for PVM as well. It would be quite nice, and I would fully support adding this functionality to these other items as well. Next up, we have a suggestion by you, Pesman. Now, I really like this one, and that is a very simple change to the Tangle route, which is the boss in Fairy Tales Part 1. And that is just to add a seasonal variant to it. I just really like the idea of adding little minor changes and Easter eggs based on the time of day. Like adding a day-night cycle would be one of my favorite things in RuneScape. I think it would add so much atmosphere and just make the game so much cooler. So here we have a few different variants. We have a green variant, a brown variant, and I guess a winter variant. Really like this idea. I hope they can do something like this in the future. Now, the last suggestion I have for this week is by Payne Doug, and that is adding the ability to imbue the Berserker Necklace. Currently, it's kind of a niche item that's only used for a certain amount of things. He would like to pitch the idea of the imbued Berserker Necklace. This version of the necklace would offer a 10% damage, not accuracy boost to obsidian ranged weaponry and obsidian staves. I'm not really sure about this one. I think it makes sense that you can imbue the item. However, I think having it be a kind of niche use is fine. I don't think we need to make everything competing for a best in slot item. I'm not saying that that is exactly what he's going for here. I think once we start trying to bring all these niche items back into relevance is when we'll just have a bunch of cluttered items that will be similar, or it'll be hard for people to choose from. That's just my opinion anyway. So those are all the suggestions from Reddit, and that's what I wanted to focus on. But just to end today's video, I wanted to showcase a small clip from this really awesome RuneScape animation that was put onto the RuneScape Reddit. There is some really good stuff on there every once in a while. You just have to unbury yourself from all the spade memes and let's move the grand exchange to the party room kind of thing. Anyway, it's actually quite funny as well, and enjoy the entire thing. I would recommend going and having a look at it, and I would definitely give this guy a sub because it must have taken them a long time to put this together, and I would like to see another one.
You sure you know where this clue is?
Yeah, it's right here.
OMG, I'm so rich now.
Yeah, sorry I had to end this way, man.
What? You scammer! I trusted you!
Anyway, guys, that's about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the weekly recap. If you do want to see more episodes like this in the future, again, it's a weekly recap, so I'd probably only do one a week or maybe two a month or something like that. Honestly, it could even be a monthly recap. I'm just kind of feeling the waters here and seeing what you guys will be interested in. If you do enjoy it, definitely leave a comment or a like to let me know, and I will see you guys next time.